8.3 million miles worth of CO2 emissions can be absorbed by just 1 acre of this tree species. Allow me to introduce you to the coastal redwood. That same acre of trees can produce enough oxygen for dozens of people to survive every single year.
We are only left with less than 5% of old-growth forests on this planet. And just to put it into perspective, these old-growth forests can sequester 2 times as much carbon as a little baby forest like this. It takes time for such a massive organism to reach its full potential.
So that probably makes you wonder, why did we cut them all down? I wonder that too. So history lesson time. In 1906, there was an earthquake and fire, decimated San Francisco. If you're a Californian, you probably know this. But when they went back through the rubble, they realized that the houses and buildings that were left standing were built of redwood. And so they were like, oh, we should just chop down this invaluable natural resource and build houses out of it. And so they did. They mandated that everything was to be rebuilt with redwood, and so they came and clear cut this entire forest down to stumps. This used to be an ancient old growth redwood forest. Solving one little problem, we actually deprived ourselves of a huge resource that could have been helping us reduce our carbon footprint this entire time. All that we have to do is leave them alone, and they are quite literally the most valuable plant species that we have on the planet. They are undoing our wrongs. So let's talk some nature facts. I think that conservation begins with education, and I want to tell you some cool things about a redwood forest that I didn't know before I got to live in one. First of all, California is home to over a third of the species in the US, including over 2/3, I think, of the endangered species, which makes it a crucial ecosystem. Redwood trees are great proponents of the mycelium network. They are transmitting carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, phosphorus, hormones, defense signals, DNA, tons of nutrients and information underneath our feet using the mycelium network all the time. What I think is super cool, this is probably a mother tree right here. Every forest has these hub trees, these mother trees that exhibit more activity, and it seems like they're sending more signals, more nutrients, even selectively caring for their own young and their own saplings. And so we witness this exchange of nutrients, and then if a mother tree is infected or for some reason is dying, we see a huge push of information from her onto her future generations, all of her knowledge and wisdom that she's learned in her tree life, how to protect herself from pests and where the water is and different things about the seasons. It's all pushed along onto the next generation of trees. You can imagine that these ancient redwoods are literally millions of years worth of DNA that's been passed on and on by these mother trees in order for them to be able to evolve to the point that they have. I mean, these trees are the tallest in the world for a reason. They are incredible. One of the most wonderful things about redwoods, in my opinion, is that they aren't this strong on their own. If you planted a redwood by itself in the forest, it would probably topple and fall over. Their roots only go 6 to 12 feet deep, but they go super far out and intertwine with one another, holding each other up. And the strength of this forest and the height of these trees is only possible because they work as a community. And I think that in many ways, redwoods are the answer to our crazy world right now. The political climate is more than just politics. It's creating division like our country has never experienced before. So recent administration is causing me to be the Lorax now, and that's fine. That's what I am willing to do for these wonderful trees. Essentially, the current administration would like to log a ton of our national forests, basically selling it all over to the logging industry, and under the guise that it's going to prevent wildfires, which I think is really important to talk about because not everyone is educated in forestry. Hello. When you log and clear cut a forest, it leaves it entirely vulnerable to invasive species that are often way more flammable than what was already growing there. For example, this is a second growth redwood forest that has already been logged once, and as a result, these new redwoods are also competing with things like tan oaks, live oaks, and others that are extremely flammable. Just one spark and they will catch. These trees are also really susceptible to sudden oak death syndrome, meaning that there are tons of these oaks drying out, falling to the forest floor, and leaving it vulnerable to disease. Now, if we clear cut the entire rest of the California coast and leave it up to these oaks, it's going to be on fire in a matter of years. years. And unless we plan on dramatically reducing our carbon consumption in the next few years, these trees are one of nature's final strongholds. We can learn so much from these redwoods, and in our protection of them, they are teaching us so much. We will fall if we are divided, and we are only strong if we are one and we have unity. And so, in this crazy time, prioritize protecting peace and beautiful things, because hate doesn't keep redwoods standing. It's love and community that makes them the tallest tree, the strongest tree, the most adaptable and resilient tree in the world. None of us are going to make it through this crazy time. Neither are these trees if we can't look out for each other. 500 acres of forest were returned to the Sinkyone Intertribal Wilderness Committee, which is stewarding it beautifully, and the forest has been flourishing ever since. This land is stolen from Pomo, Miwok, and Wapu tribes. These were people who understood the land and who lived with and in and for the land. I think that they really understood how these trees worked and what they needed to survive. They understood that fires are actually really important for a healthy forest to stay alive, and so they did controlled burns frequently through these areas to make sure that redwoods had the ability to propagate and also to burn off the undergrowth and allow new growth. A recent Yale study showed that when it returned, these lands actually have way more biodiversity, are able to sequester more carbon, and are generally healthier forests.
I want to talk more about some of the cool things that these redwoods can do. First of all, redwoods love a cool, dark, damp environment to grow in, and so do a lot of the species that are depending on these redwoods to survive. And they can't always depend on the coastal fog to come through, especially in a changing climate like this one, so they have actually adapted to literally make it rain. We have fog all of the time that rolls in, or even little raindrops that will fall from the sky with literally the sun is shining, there's not a cloud in the sky. The redwoods are just creating their ideal environment to survive in.
When I was a little girl in history class, I just remember having so many lessons where I was like, we cannot let history repeat itself. Like, this is the generation. We will not be the ones to let these beautiful trees fall again and to let our earth burn. We can't let history repeat itself. We can't afford to let history repeat itself. Not again. We only have 5% of these forests left. We're all so unsure about like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to college. I don't know what I want my future to be. I don't know this, that, whatever. Like, so do something that makes you feel alive until you figure it out. I don't know if this is gonna be my whole life, but I feel like I'm doing something right now, and I feel like I'm a part of something beautiful, and that's enough for now. So, what better way to spend your life than for something that you love, you know? And I don't know, I think just go outside. I don't know. Don't listen to me.